Chiedete e vi sarà dato. Cercate e
Ask,
troverete.
and it will be given to you.
Bussate
Seek,
e
and
vi
you will
sarà
find.
aperto.
Knock, and the door will be
Gesù
opened
con
for
queste
you.
parole ci invita a
With these
rivolgerci
words, Jesus
fiduciosamente
invites
al
us to turn
Padre
with trust
in
to the
tutte le
Father
nostre
for all
necessità.
our needs.
Noi le ascoltiamo mentre
These
celebriamo
are
il
also the words we
Giubileo
listen
della
to you.
vita
We listen
consacrata,
to as you gather
che vi ha
from all
condotti
over the world
qui
to
numerosi
celebrate
da
the
tante
Jubilee
parti
of
del
Consecrated
mondo,
Life,
religiose e religiosi,
as men and women
monaci e
religious,
contemplative,
monks,
membri
nuns,
degli
and
istituti
contemplatives,
secolari,
members of secular
appartenenti
institutes
all'Ordo
and of the
Virginum,
Ordo Virginum,
eremiti e membri di
hermits,
nuovi istituti,
and those belonging to the new
venuti a
institutes.
Roma per vivere
You have come to
insieme
Rome to
il
undertake
pellegrinaggio
the
giubilare,
Jubilee pilgrimage
per
together.
affidare la vostra vita
You
a
have come
quella
to entrust your
misericordia
lives to
di
the same
cui,
mercy to which,
attraverso la
through
professione
your religious
religiosa,
profession,
vi siete
you once
impegnati ad
committed
essere
yourself to bear
segno
witness,
profetico,
because living out your
perché
vows
vivere i
means
voti
abandoning
è
yourselves like
abbandonarsi
children
come bambini tra le braccia
into
del
the
Padre.
arms of the Father.
Chiedere, cercare, bussare.
To ask,
I
to
verbi
seek,
della
and to
preghiera
knock.
usati dall'Evangelista
These
Luca
expressions of prayer,
sono atteggiamenti
mentioned by the
familiari per
evangelist
voi,
Luke, are attitudes
abituati
that
dalla
are familiar
pratica dei
to you.
consigli evangelici a
Through living out the
domandare
evangelical
senza
counsels,
pretendere,
you are
docili
accustomed to
all'azione
asking
di Dio.
without demanding,
Non
always
a caso,
docile to God's
il
action.
Concilio Vaticano
It is no
parla,
coincidence
Vaticano
that the
II
Second Vatican
parla dei
Council
voti come
speaks
di
of
un
vows
mezzo
as a
utile
useful
per
means
poter
of,
raccogliere
quote,
in più
deriving
grande
more abundant
abbondanza
fruit from
i
baptismal
frutti
grace,
della grazia battesimale.
end quote.
Chiedere, infatti, è
To ask, in
riconoscere
fact,
nella povertà
is to recognize
tutto è dono
through
del
poverty
Signore
that
e di
everything
tutto
is a
rendere
gift from the
grazie.
Lord,
Cercare
and to give thanks
e
for it.
aprirsi nell'obbedienza
To seek
a
is
scoprire
to open
ogni
oneself
giorno
through
la via da
obedience
seguire nel cammino
to
della
discovering
santità,
each day
secondo i
the path
disegni
we must
di
take
Dio.
on the journey toward
Bussare
holiness,
e
following God's
domandare e
plans.
offrire ai fratelli i doni
To knock
ricevuti
is to
con
ask
cuore
for
casto,
and to offer the gift
sforzandosi
we have
di amare
received to our
tutti
brothers and
con
sisters
rispetto
with a
e
chaste heart,
gratuità.
striving to love everyone with
Potremmo
respect and
leggere in questo
generosity.
senso le parole che Dio rivolge al profeta Malachia nella prima lettura.
We could read the words that God
Egli
addresses
chiama
to
gli
the prophet
abitanti di
Malachi in the
Gerusalemme
first reading in the
mia
same light.
proprietà particolare.
He refers to
E
the
dice al
inhabitants of
profeta,
Jerusalem as my special
avrò
possession,
cura di loro,
and tells
come
the
il
prophet,
padre ha cura del
I will
figlio.
spare them as parents spare
Sono
their
espressioni
children.
che ci ricordano l'amore con cui il
These
Signore,
expressions remind us
chiamandoci,
of the
ci
love
ha preceduti.
with which the Lord has first loved us
Un'occasione
in calling
in
us.
particolare per voi, per fare memoria
It is an
della
opportunity,
gratuità della vostra
especially for you,
vocazione,
to reflect
cominciando
on
dalle
the free
origini
gift
delle
of your vocation,
congregazioni a cui
from the
appartenete
origins of your
fino al momento
congregation to the
presente.
present day,
Dai primi passi
and
del
from
vostro
the first steps
percorso
of your personal
personale
journey
fino a
to this
questo
moment.
istante. Tutti noi siamo qui prima di tutto perché Lui ci ha
First and foremost,
voluti
we are all
ed
here
eletti
because
da
God has
sempre.
willed it and has chosen us
Chiedere,
from the very beginning.
cercare, bussare. Allora vuol dire anche guardare a ritroso alla propria
To
esistenza,
ask, to seek,
riportando
and
alla
to knock
mente e al
also
cuore
means reflecting
quanto
on
il
our own
Signore ha
lives,
compiuto
bringing to
negli
mind
anni
and
per
heart
moltiplicare
what
i
the Lord has
talenti,
achieved over the
per
years
accrescere e
by
purificare la
multiplying
fede,
talents,
per rendere più generosa e
strengthening and
libera la
purifying
carità.
faith, and fostering
A volte ciò è
generosity
avvenuto in
and freedom
circostanze
in charity.
gioiose, altre volte per vie più difficili da capire, magari
Sometimes this
attraverso
has
il
been achieved in
crogiolo
joyful
misterioso della
circumstances,
sofferenza,
and at other times in ways
sempre
that are more
però
difficult to understand,
nell'abbraccio di quella
perhaps
bontà
even through the
paterna
mysterious
che
crucible
caratterizza
of
il suo
suffering.
agire in noi e attraverso
At
di
all
noi
times, however,
per il
we
bene
find
della
ourselves
Chiesa.
in the embrace of that paternal goodness that
questo ci
characterizes
porta
what He does
ad
in
una
us
seconda
and through us
riflessione
for the good
su
of the
Dio
Church.
come pienezza e senso della
This
nostra
brings us
vita.
to a second recollection,
Per voi, per
to a
noi,
second
il
reflection.
Signore è
God
tutto,
as the fullness and
lo è in
meaning
vari
of our
modi,
lives.
come creatore e fonte
For you,
dell'esistenza,
for us, The Lord is everything. He is everything in different ways, as creator and the source of existence, as love that calls and challenges, as the strength that impels and inspires us to give.
Nulla vale. È il vostro chiedere, cercare e bussare, nella preghiera come nella vita. Riguarda pure.
Without him, nothing exists. Nothing makes sense. Nothing is worthwhile. Your asking, seeking, and knocking, both in prayer and in life, has much to do with this truth. In this regard, St. Augustine describes God's presence in his own life using beautiful imagery. He speaks of a light not bound by space, a voice that never fades, food that is not lessened by eating, and a hunger which is never satisfied. And he concludes, "This is what I love when I love my God." These are the words of a mystic, yet they resonate with our own experience. They reveal the longing for infinity that dwells in the hearts of all men and women. For this reason, the Church entrusts you with the task of being living witnesses to God's primacy in your lives. By stripping yourselves of everything, you help the brothers and sisters which you meet to cultivate this friendship themselves. After all, history teaches us that an authentic experience of God always gives rise to generous outpourings of charity. This was the case in the lives of your founders and foundresses, men and women who were in love with the Lord and therefore ready to become all things to all people, without distinction, in the most varied ways and situations. It is true that today, as in the time of Malachi, some say it is vain to serve God. This way of thinking leads to a genuine paralysis of the soul. We end up settling for a life made up of fleeting moments, superficial and intermittent relationships, and passing fads, things that leave a void in our hearts. This is not what we need truly in order to be happy. Instead, we need consistent, lasting and healthy experiences of love. Through the example of your consecrated life, you can be likened to the flourishing trees we sang about in the responsorial psalm, spreading the fresh air of authentic love throughout the world. I would like to consider one final aspect of your mission. We heard the Lord say to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, "The Sun of Righteousness shall rise with healing in its wings," inviting them, that is, to hope for a fulfillment of their destiny beyond the present moment. This is a reference to the eschatological dimension of the Christian life, which calls us to be engaged in the world while at the same time constantly striving toward eternity. It is an invitation for you to prolong the asking, seeking and knocking of your lives through prayer to the eternal horizon that transcends the realities of this world, to orient them toward that Sunday without sunset when all humanity will enter into God's rest. In this regard, the Second Vatican Council entrusts you with a specific task when it says that consecrated persons are called to be, in a special way, witnesses to future goods. My dear brothers and sisters, the Lord, to whom you have given everything, has rewarded you with such beauty and richness And I would like to urge you to treasure and cultivate what you have received. Finally, let us recall the words of St. Paul VI. Keep, he wrote to religious, the simplicity of the least among us, of the gospel. May you succeed in discovering this anew in an interior and closer relationship with Christ, and in your direct contact with your brethren. You will then experience, through the action of the Holy Spirit, the joyful exaltation of those who are introduced into the secrets of the kingdom. Do not seek to be numbered among the learned and clever. Such secrets are hidden from these. Be truly poor, meek, eager for holiness, merciful, and pure of heart. Be among those who will bring to the world the peace of God.